ingredients for success. They're just not quite getting the mix correct. And I think right now we'll have to see. Yeah, I see. I'm not half bad at this, Foxy. I'm not half bad at this. I'm just. Renekton banned by Tricked here. We'll see Lucian off the table. I think because Pulse has played 2 games of Lucian out of his 2 games of the NLC so far, it's kind of popped off on it. So that makes sense for banning.
And before we start with the actual picks that we will see on the Rift, I just want to say hi to Caracal, the coach for Resolve. Hola, suerte. I'm just wishing him good luck. He's Spanish too, so I had to point that out. Sorry.
So,
wow.
We traded one.
Yeah, exactly.
I was literally about to say we've traded one country-biased analyst for another, so I think it's fine. Someone had to fill the role of being biased directly towards their country. That's okay. That's
true. It wouldn't be the NLC without it, to be fair.
It would not be the NLC without it. We need to bring back Captain Brexit for Foxtrot. So
we do. That we do. One day. As we get into these bans, we're something that's striking me here is not Viego and Gwen being banned on the side of Resolve. Now, normally you ban both of those because you don't want the other team to first pick it. But now this means that Viego is open. Tricked offering more. Not going to go for Viego. They're going to go for that Lee Sin, which is very powerful on the current patch. But I would be shocked if we don't see a Viego coming out of this draft now.
We'll have to see what they choose. I don't think we're going to see Ari. That is a complete meme. I mean, if Ari gets locked, I have no idea what's going on with my life. But yeah, Viego, as you said, is super strong, especially from the jungle. We're seeing a lot of Viego right now, like Viego jungles sort of taking over a little bit, but the Karma does come through, has been relatively popular, but Soft, of course, locks in his Olaf. It is a Soft pick through and through. It allows Soft to be a bit more carry orientated. And if you've ever heard Jamada talk about Resolve in general, he says that they just like to jungle diff every game. So they like to try and jungle diff with Soft. And look, to be honest, for the most part, the early games have been dominated by Soft's Rumble and Soft's Olaf. And the Soft Olaf was one of the reasons that they kind of had that small edge versus BTXL in the early game last week, but it's immediately responded with an Udyr. We'll see where Trick go as well.
Udyr versus Olaf, pretty similar champions as far as their playstyle, what they want to do, and just how you use them on the Rift. Both of those champions, you want to farm jungle as fast as you can, and then kind of just bully out with your muscles onto the other jungler and try and get lane pro with your lanes, and then maybe start from base and stuff like that. It looks like it's going to be an Airs lock-in for the bot side. Travis hovering. Here's a Nivea, great with eggs, that man is, and obviously a Nivea would be right up his alley for that. I'm not 100% sure we'll actually see that, mind you.
No. Sorry, Carmeline, you go, because I have something to say after, but you go, Carmeline.
If it's related to Anivia, you can go first. If it's not, I will go. Okay, anyways. So, oh no, you guys are going to have to wait because it's going to be Sivir going there for the bot lane.
I just have to ask
quite a little bit.
Foxy, do you remember the phrase that Jake said?
Roast egg. I remember very well roast eggs. Yes, I do.
I'm sorry, you're being looped into a meme here that's a couple of years old, realistically.
Yep.
Jake
that was
said
great.
Something about roast eggs in a cast, and we were like, "Who the hell roasts eggs?" Like Jake, what you? Oh my god. Anyway, I'm sure Jake's gonna be really happy when we throw this over to him. Nautilus ban, very very popular ban. Wouldn't be surprised to see a Leona follow up either, because the Leona Nautilus has been like a 1-2 ban strategy that we have seen on the second ban phase. Gonna be a Jace ban here from Tricked.
Yeah, this is interesting so far. Getting those support bans out as well. You want to get a good matchup for that bot side for that Sivir.
I would really like to see the Sivir with the Karma there. They both have the movement speed added to the arcades with the Karma, being able to speed you up, give you the shield, and also, of course, this ulti. So I think that can make for a really good engaging composition, or even escaping if you need to do so. So that allows them to be a little more flexible when it comes to the game plan. So I really want to see how Tricked will answer to this, because they definitely got something very interesting going on in front of them.
I wouldn't even be too upset with the Lulu support though, Carmeline, because if you were then to run Karma in one of your other lanes in Sivir, you're playing a pure Olaf, Jugger Olaf comp style thing, which is playing towards the strength of stuff. I mean, this entire comp is revolving around facilitating Olaf in team fights, like the Sivir ult, the Karma shield butt boosts. Like a lot of this is kind of making Olaf stronger in those mid-game team fight scenarios. But then you do also have that scaling element of a Sivir. You know, we all know about the meme of the Sivir 400 CS power spike. Like that is something that is there for a reason, and it's going to be a big beefy boy for Caleb on the front line with the Ornn locked in.
I think the Ornn's a good one here because you can like get a long range engage with Ornn and then speed everyone up to follow through afterwards. As far as like mid-laners go as well, I think that something like a Victor would actually fit quite nicely here. Yeah, don't get too excited just yet. I haven't locked anything in. Carmeline losing her marbles over in the corner. What was the champion that got you there? Something made you pretty excited. Unfortunately, I doubt it was Leona. Sona. Okay, it's not. It rhymes with Sona. It's gonna be the Leona. And I'm not really a huge fan of this. I'll be 100% honest. Really hard to lock down to hit Karma with the speed boosts. Really hard to hit Sivir with the spell shields. Olaf, you can't really see in fights. Ornn, why do you want to hit him with things? Yeah, not really sure. I don't think it matches up well with Ez either. Either way, it's now going to be down to Resolved and their mid laner for this last pick. They have a lot of firepower with the Sivir. I'm looking for something that can either kind of contribute to this like move speed comp that they've got, something maybe with a bit low range or low mobility that you can really kind of just accentuate by getting that, putting that Sivir ult and that Karma shield on them. It's going to be that Orianna. So more move speed, man. More playing around the carries.
Yeah, it's very much playing heavily around the Olaf in the mid game. Then you have that late game backup of like Sivir and Orianna in towards that later stages. But again, this does feel like a game that's going to be dominated by Soph in the early mid. Like it has to be, like realistically, because you're going to get run over if you don't, right? So like, you know, if an Orianna or a Sivir are not given this platform from the Olaf, like you're gonna crap the bed in the early game, basically. Like it's gonna be a rough one.
Speaking of bed, you should probably hop in. This is going to be a long one. Sivir, Orianna, Olaf getting us through the early game. We're going to have to wait out. This game's not going to be particularly short one, I would imagine.
I will say, Tricked have been very good at accelerating. Like one of the things that they've shown to do so well over the first two games is they take over the early game and the mid game and they accelerate very quickly. It's one of the things that we praised them for last week quite heavily. So if you're going to stop a Sivir and Orianna scaling up, Tricked have a comp that can do so, and they have a team playstyle that can do so as well. Anyway, I'm feeling kind of hungry. Don't know about you, Foxtrot, but I'm going to go roast some eggs while we hand over to our casters.
Shut the hell up, scoundrel. That was like 4 years ago, man. Like
Jake,
4 years ago. It was a long time ago. Get over it.
Do we want to talk about it, the incident?
I mean, let's talk about it. Let's talk about a more recent egg incident, and yeah, Chimera and whatever the hell he thought that was. Like, how the hell? Like, just go on Chimera's Twitter if you want the context.
Yes.
He tried to poach eggs. It's pretty easy to spot. It's not poached eggs on his feed.
Anyway, let's talk about League of Legends.
Because, let's talk about not eggs. We've
got some very interesting comps in front of us. Well, actually, maybe the opposite of that, like Foxy put it. Get into bed. If you've got a snack, it's going to be useful. You've got a drink maybe as well. Resolve.
Stay hydrated. It's hot.
Yeah, stay hydrated. It's warm today, guys. Specifically in the UK. I'm not sure about the rest of Europe, but or anywhere else for that matter.
And if you want a snack, get yourself a Kit Kat. You can buy that on your MasterCard. There we go.
There you go.
I'm tying everything together.
Tricked bot laner, then Voxney currently holds a KDA of 23 since he is deathless after 2 games and has the highest CS per minute and gold per minute of all bot laners in week 1. That's some impressive stats.
To be honest, that sounds like Den Voxney. I've been following Den Voxney's career for a very long time. He is an extremely efficient player. Is probably the best way to describe him.
Yeah.
Does kind of play back for the farming, and then later kind of really pops off for the team. He's definitely he's almost like a very reckless style AD carry, where he's quite like your late game insurance more than like your primary carry until kind of like 25 minutes, 30 minutes onwards. Then he starts to kind of be that carry for the team.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm sure he'd love me comparing him to Reckless.
Yeah, maybe. And, a lot of the Resolve boys going to be very familiar with playing against Den Voxney. Of course, a lot of this roster came up from the UKLC, and then Voxney came up from London Esports. And of course, London Esports and Resolve were the teams that played in the finals and in Telia. That finals was honestly such a banger. And Voxnay pretty much tried to backpack London for the entire series. And couldn't quite make it happen.
Okay, I thought we were having a little bit of early...
Yeah, I thought we were too. We still might.
Resolve trying to ruin Dame Voxnay's KDA in the first couple of minutes of the game. Do expect this to be a little bit like that last bot lane we saw with Akama, except it's the Ezreal on the other side. Sivir naturally going to have that shoving power, double ranged as well. Dame Voxnay and Lucky are just going to have to sit back and kind of eat the pressure for a little bit. Sivir obviously going to fall off a little bit. Once those kind of first items start to come in, Dame Voxnay will spike harder on the Divine Sundra than a Chew.
Yeah, and Sivir, we don't get to often see. She's still very much the same champion that she was before the item changes. You know, she hits 2 items. She's kind of like online, but not truly. But she is pretty scary. But as soon as she hits that 3 item mark, you know, run. She's gonna put out the dips.
It's hard to run from a Sivir though,
and that's the thing. When she's got a Karma too, it's even harder.
I mean, I'm actually thinking about how Quicksoft's going to be. If we're not going to see a Cloud Soul this game, as the first dragon is Cloud, but we've got Orianna speed bust with Ear to Dissonance. We've got Karma shielding. We got R's coming in as well from the On the Hunt or Thrill of the Hunt. Which one is it?
Thrill of the Hunt is Rengar. I know that.
Yeah, one of them is
Rengar.
Rengar
for many years. What is Sivir's? Don't even show us, Observer. Just let us look stupid.
No, show us. I need to know. I can't remember. It's been so long.
On the Hunt.
It is On the Hunt.
Yeah.
I was right then.
Yeah.
Yes, because the combo between them was Thrill On the Hunt. That was it. Now I remember. See, Chu agrees. Puts the B up.
Happy B. Oh, I love the B emotes. They are my favorite. But
we've talked about emotes before. It is On the Hunt.
Yeah.
Thank you, Observer.
Thank you, Observer. Thank you. But yeah. This composition from Resolve, like we're saying, very fast. It's very 2019, early 2020, if I'm honest with you.
Yeah.
Especially with the Ornn on top of all of it. But they've got a lot of tools. Scaling, engage. Fastleg's about to face check Taxa. Stuff is in the area though. That was almost very early Fastleg first blood.
They might find Lucky here. They're going to get into Tether. He's slowed down by the axe and has to flash away, but now the stun's connected onto Soft. Soft's being chased down as the flashes are going to get burnt. Taxa tries to chase a little bit more. Resolve are able to get their jungler out of there while Tricks are able to get the support out. That was a little bit scary.
Yeah, it was indeed, but Soft has to blow his flash. Archie also his heal. Lucky did blow the flash. Doesn't have Hex Flash, curiously enough.
I would actually like to have a quick look towards the action in the mid lane. Thank you very much, as we do talk about the perfect time. Because Chimera has been getting shoved in pretty consistently by Poulsen here in this mid lane. He's been struggling with the pressure, but Poulsen's been able to assert. Obviously, he wants to kind of start to stack up a little bit more mana and AP to be able to deal with the waves effectively on the Orianna. So kind of suffering in the mana department right now.
Yeah, certainly a little bit interesting. Normally, Lee Sin can deal with a fair amount of poke relatively well. You know, you've got the Doran Shield, he might be running Second Wind from the Resolve tree. But typically range champions, you know, level 1, Lee Sin's not quite ready yet to do annoying Lee Sin things. So curious to see how he ended up sort of getting outlasted so hard. Yeah, indeed, Madly.
Madly could be in trouble here. If Kalen wants to commit, he's not going to. I don't think he has the charge ready.
No,
Madly was close to being killed.
Yeah, was indeed. Gragas not a pick we see too often these days in the top lane anymore. He obviously had a fair amount of prominence in spring. Got hit with a couple of nerfs, and ever since he's kind of fallen off in favor of other tank tops, and of course champions like Renekton, a little more aggressive options. But Resolve, I think, makes a lot of sense there on these dragons early. Olaf, much like Udyr, wants to be taking these dragons early on, and Olaf is one of the few champions in the game that can kind of match the Udyr skirmishing.
And the scary fact is now we look at what soul we'll be looking at. It'll be the Infernal or an Ocean Soul now.
Honestly,
both of those souls, pretty nice, especially the Ocean. If you've got the likes of an Olaf with all these speed buffs, the amount of sustain he'll get off the back of that. On top of the movement speed, he is going to be an unkillable, unstoppable monster if we get into that soul point.
Indeed, it will be a very daunting thing to look at if you're on the Trick side. Fastleg looks like he's going to try and just hold this wave, see if Trick leave it alone after they push, but Lucky's just going to check into the bush. He doesn't have a lot of HP to work with, so he might feel a little bit pressured.
Well, if you miss that Zenith Blade, it is going to be really problematic. They've ignited Fastleg here. Fastleg should be fine. There's no ulti on Denvoxny. Fastleg can probably be quite happy with that. Wanted to reset anyway after that wave. Forced the summoner spell for free. That's everything.
Tricked. They want to reset right now. They really, really badly want to reset. Denvoxny even commits. True Shot Barrage to shove in the wave. Archu lost a lot of HP and Tax is actually in the area. They're just going to go for the dive.
Yeah, Chu has to flash away. Lucky's taking tower shot after tower shot. A couple more autos. If that Q hit Chu.
That was so close.
The shoulda, coulda, woulda Q. Unfortunately, not enough.
And I mean, Archu, really nice from Lucky actually on a micro level. He held onto his stun, baited Archu into actually spell shielding, didn't auto attack, didn't fall into that trap. And that's what caused Archu to additionally flash on the back end of that dive. So really well played from Lucky. Unfortunate on the end of Archu not to pick that one up. The Q goes wide now. Members of Resolve forcing this mid lane priority. They're going to have a bot lane wave crash in as well. So someone's going to have to go and collect this relatively stacked wave too. So it looks like Resolve with all of these lanes in order they might look to start this Herald, though they could definitely wait a wave or two.
Resolve are just trying to get himself a control on the vision right now. Yeah. She's going to shove a wave in. Can reset if he needs to. Obviously still working with the health bar he had after that dive.
Ooh. Chimera's running low on mana. He's got a Biscuit, I guess, but... Let's see. Seems Resolve obviously holding off on that Herald for now. Felt like Tricked might have actually responded in time, but as I say it, Sloth actually goes into the back of the pit on the blast cone. That's top lane scuffle.
This is the ultimate top lane. This is what we remember. This is that wet noodle fight.
Yeah.
Been a while since I've said the wet noodle fight.
Yeah, I think we've had more support or combats than wet noodle fights in the top lane recently.
Feels great to be a top laner. Chu actually rotated over to make sure they can pick up this Rift Herald.
Yep.
Chimera's going to make his way back over to catch the rest of the wave. And wave's going to be perfectly crashing in time for a Chu to catch this as well. It's going to go the long way around as Lucky is in the area.
Yeah.
They look for a Chu, has to pop the ulti. He's going to eat a Q as the tether lands down onto Denvoxny. He is rooted for the moment. Tax is coming in, they're bringing the teleport. They're actually going to deny them the wave. Lucky gets a slower Chu, dodges out on the True Shot Barrage. His team's coming in. Can they save him? The shield lands. They've got all the shielding they need. The shockwave's there. They've already found first blood, but so far it's a 1-for-1. 80 carry for sports. As now they land the axe, Soft gets himself the kill on to Taxa. Paulson is running to the wind. He's trying to see if he can turn it around as the temple will connect onto him. He gets the Sonic Strike off and Paulson takes out Soft, but Soft, oh my lord, Paulson goes down as well. That was a lot of action and I ran out of breath.
I'm not surprised. That was a very long chain of events, and honestly, Tricked committing multiple members to this stacked wave. They don't want Archie to pick it up for free. They lost out on the Herald. They didn't trade anything on the top side. They decide to go for that play to at least try and make it even, get some plates back, but they end up committing for a tower dive simply just because of the positioning and the fact that they had numbers around. And it turns into a bit of a 2v2. You see Taxa on his way. The minimap is blocked at the moment, but Soft and Chimera rotating over from base and mid lane respectively. And as soon as you see Soft and Chimera, you feel like you just turn around at this point. They do pick up Archu, and it is first blood there, but the shockwave onto free means that everybody just basically has to run for the hills. Paulson fortunately has flash and a ward to make it over the wall, but Soft chases in here because he feels like he has the damage to potentially kill Denvoxny, but then you just see Paulson, he's waiting on a resolved control ward, and he just gets kicked into the wall, bursted down. Nothing more to say about that result. Paulson trades his life in favor of Softs. Denvoxny gets out untouched, still deathless. Maybe that's what Soft was going for, wanted to ruin his perfect KDA. I think we've got the reason now.
Oh, Chimera lands better shockwaves when he lands eggs in the boiling water for a... for some poached eggs. As Dragon's going to get secured here by Resolve. That's going to be their second one, and we'll see what soul we're looking at. Either or is pretty happy. I don't think Resolve are really going to mind either way. That's going to get picked up, and it is the Infernal Soul, our second one of the day. Olsen will
Hello,
get found here by Fastleg. So I don't really think they have too much damage to deal to him. So Chu's just going to quite happily shove the wave in. Rift Herald hasn't been placed yet by Sof. See where he decides to go for that one. This tower in the bot lane could be that target. He's making his way over. I like to see them funnel as much gold into a Chu as possible.
Yeah, I think so as well, especially after he missed that stacked wave and died. As Tricked are basically opting into a bit of a map split here. It is a little bit unfortunate. It's not then Voxnade sending the resources into, but at the end of the day, it's about all you can hope for. And I mean, look at the gold difference between the AD carries as we're talking about them. It's going to be closed up a fair amount by this tower. As it might just about even out, yeah.
Just about pulls ahead. The wave clear comes in from the Call of the Forge God. Doesn't quite finish off most of the waves, so Madly should be able to pick this one up. Kalim trying his hardest to at least catch some of this farm and hold his tower. Is able to do so, crucially. This is now getting the base coming in for a tube, building towards the Gale Force. Has just finished it up.
I will say, oh my goodness me. Madly flashed.
Yeah, what happened there? He had ulti as well. It's curious that he flashed instead of just displacing Kalim, but...
Ornn is a big boy.
Ornn is a big boy.
Quite strange, but honestly, Kalim did a pretty good job there of not that. Okay, Archu.
Wow, that was actually like a fifth of a Devoxy's health.
Yeah. I mean, to this day, I still don't know why Gale Force has damage on it.
Yeah, it makes no sense. And why it has magic damage as well, of all things.
The fact that it's not physical and it changes the damage profile just a tad on AD carries just really bugs me. And, let's not forget, it's an X. All right, I'm getting too bad. I'm sorry. I just...
Gale Force is still a tilting Harry item.
Yeah, it's a silly item. Obviously, they've got the mobility creep nerfs coming in, but take Gale Force out of the game or just take away just do something to it. I
actually think if they took the damage out, it'd be an okay item.
I think it would be an okay item. I don't think
it would be that bad. I still think Solar Flare gonna land onto one. They're gonna try and throw everything onto him. He flashes away. Chu has the ulti. I don't think he's gonna be able to pass it in time. Yes, he is. The kick saves him as Taxa's locked down, and now Resolver looking to turn this one around as Taxa able to just about make his way out. But here comes Madly. The fat man's coming in with a belly bump. Chu is gonna eat everything as he's caught into the wall. Flashes over, and this is Trick just running through and away with this fight. They didn't have their Orianna ready for the shockwave. Well, Chimera did use it, but it wasn't quite enough.
Yeah, in the end, it didn't really stop the onslaught of Trick. And I mean, it was just a really nice teleport from Madly. I think that control ward in that tri-bush, or perhaps the one at Krugs, just gave him complete free access to set up there for Trick. And I mean, it's not necessarily the most over-eager or greedy of rotation from Resolve, but they are still definitely treading the lines of Trick territory, and Trick punished them, rightfully so, for it. As we get the replay, you know, just trying to set vision down, and it's one of those tough ones where it's like, he's out of position, yes, fast-legged, but he's not even crazy trying to commit into the jungle, unfortunately. And at this point, Resolve say, okay, maybe we can commit forward, actually, we have the numbers, but they just don't expect the teleport to come at them from this angle from Madly. The cast CCs Archu into the wall. It does miss out on the other two members, but they're dead anyway. Doesn't even matter. Archu has to flash the wall. Trick pick up 3 kills.
It's interesting to see that Devoxy's gone for the Manamune as the first item and not opted into the Divine Sundra. Typically, we see people pick that up second on Ezreal. Maybe it was a cost thing. It is a cheap item. It's a nice little spike to get, so maybe that's why he went for it. Maybe we'll get some chat with him at some point and kind of get his thoughts on why he prefers the Manamune over the Divine Sundra first.
Yeah, that's interesting. I suppose you do technically build more physical damage on the way there, more AD. However, I wonder who's at fault for that one. Then Voxnade of the dodgy angle, or Archu not walking properly into the True Shot Barrage. But yeah, it's definitely an interesting one. With Divine Sundra, you're building, you know, a Sheen. A Phage has, I think, 15 AD on it. And then, of course, you know, once you build it, it goes up to 40 AD. But you're effectively working with 15 AD and Sheen procs, so it does feel a bit bad. Whereas against the Manamune, it's what the components are: 35 AD. Once you complete it as well, I think it's the same, and then all of the mana AD. So if you're looking at optimizations, it might be better. But perhaps the Sheen damage takes over. I'm not too sure. I'm not Freak. That's a Freak kind of question. In my opinion, it's
Caleb in trouble. Has to flash away. Has got that Call of the Forge God. The Unstoppable's already used. So the Shockwave is enough to cake out Madly. Solar Flare only lands onto Chimera, but it's only the slow, so he's able to keep himself going as Taxa zoned away. Resolve trying to fight their way forward towards this dragon. Remember, this will be their third if they can pick it up, and a Chew jumps into Demvoxney. That's a Chad Gale Force forward. The teleport's coming in. Kalen was obviously chunked out, but he's able to heal back up, and now Lucky has to be careful. True Shot Barrage clips through 3 members of Resolve, and Lucky has to flash the wall. He is in way too deep. Bolton's coming in on the flank, and Fast Leg will look to try and catch him out with the tether, forcing the ward hop out. Resolve are trying their hardest. Chimera's going to eat a Q from Demvoxney. It's going to do a lot of damage. He's getting scrappy. The kick's going to land by Polson. Fast Leg dodges away on the side.
They want the dragon.
Tries to flash forward, but he's unable to get into the pit in time. The dragon is resolved as Chimera is low HP. Resolve are trying to force their way out of the pit now, but Demvoxney is poking and prodding and doing so much damage. Is he coming in with a kick? Gets that last auto, and Soft looks to try and tidy this one up as Chimera comes in the shield. Gets himself a good shockwave and enough to find the kill for Soft, but that's going to be yet another kill. Demvoxney's KDA is finally tarnished as the double kill is secured.
Yeah, it's such an extended fight over the dragon there. Initially, it's Resolve that come out with a pick on the Shockwave and the Ornn Ultimate stacked on top of each other. And it's just kind of the strength of this Resolve composition. They want to play front-to-back team fights. It's a little bit of an older version of League of Legends compared to what we typically see at the moment, but it was working from at the start of that fight. But eventually, they just couldn't find Demvoxney for such a long time. He just ends up chipping away at the HP bars. And inevitably, Resolve just say, okay, to hell with it, we have to burn down the dragon. They do secure it, but it is traded in kills. I think Trick come up in kills at the end of the day, or maybe it was even, I'm unsure, but the end result is still now Resolve end up 1 away from Soul.
I still worry about the items though on a Chew. Hasn't got that second item finished up, only double longsword. Let's have a little look at the fight once again.
Yeah, and this is past the initial pick. And you can just see Demvoxney being a nuisance on the back line. Polson is, of course, kicks Fast Leg back in, and he also forces Chimera out of the fight towards the back of the pit. And this is the point where Resolve, they don't really know which direction to go because they're being pincered in this really unnatural way where it's Demvoxney attacks her on one side and Lucky and Polson on the other. Madly eventually makes it back to this fight. He sees Chimera and just chucks a cast at him. Says, what are you still doing here? And Soft, heroically, I suppose, takes down Demvoxney's KDA in half. On the very back end. And then out of the replay, they're also going to be securing this Rift Herald. So let's see what they can get done with it. There are a lot of standing towers still up and available to knock down. Trick have removed all of the outer towers. Whereas Resolve still have 2 left to go.
I think looking back onto this game and kind of coming into this game, because a lot of us predicted that Tricks were going to take this. Well, keep in mind, Resolve's games last week, they played versus, I believe they played versus Fnatic. I can double check my dates. So Resolve played versus, BTXL, and then they played versus Granite.
Yeah.
2 teams who look pretty solid, and especially versus BTXL, Resolve really gave it to them. That was a close game.
I think Resolve will still be kicking themselves for not being 2-0 actually coming into this week. To be
I think you're correct there. So I think this is a team that if you look at them strictly on a spreadsheet, you would go, okay, Resolve are the weaker team here. They're 0-2 right now. But that really doesn't tell the tale of this team, and they are showing their strengths right now. They're playing with quite a lot of heavy scaling tools, but they lent into their one kind of early game champion, and it has paid dividends. They've managed to pick themselves up 3 dragons as a Chew. Probably going to find himself in a bit of trouble here. Nope, Gale Force is an item. I forget. Don't worry.
Yeah, it's frustrating. I know. I mean, they are actually down 3,000 gold at the moment, but it doesn't necessarily feel like 3,000 gold right now. At the 20-minute mark. If these guys do butt heads again at the dragon, it might become a little more apparent, especially now that Demvoxney should have his Muramana stacked up by the time the dragon spawns out. A lot on the way pings everywhere. Both these teams really looking to try and find something out of nothing.
Judas recovering a little bit of mana there.
Yeah, pretty much. As
doesn't want to get that Essence Reaver for that kind of mana top up.
Oh. Ooh. Yeah. I think teams have to put a little more priority on Ezreal. I think this champion's pretty cracked. I think he's really broken. I think some teams need to look into him.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
You know, dominating Ezreals.
He's starting to show up a little more. Last week, I think it was only Bean and maybe another AD carry, I think, that picked it up.
Yeah, I know Bean definitely played it.
Yeah, Bean definitely played it. I will say, though, I do like the Sivir as a response into it. Just because Sivir, typically, she's not like a lane bully, but she wants to try and shove in lanes. Typically, Ezreal lanes aren't the ones that gain a whole bunch of priority. But yeah, Ezreal, a lot of priority. And I mean, hell, if you see a lot of Ezreal priority, expect to maybe see more Sivir in the coming weeks too. Potentially. It's a hot take. But back to the game, we're 20 seconds away from Soul. Madley's got a flank position, and he's AP, but he's been found out.
Yeah, he does a little bit of damage as the On the Hunt is burnt by a Chew. That's quite early.
Big ultimate to blow, in my opinion. All of the mobility no longer going to be afforded to the whole team. Rift Herald in the mid lane, but now it's tricked with all of the control. So it's going to be a bit tough, I feel, for Resolve to walk through these chokes, but let's see how they play it out. They've got mid lane prior for now.
I mean, Resolve don't have to go for this. They can give it up. It will only be the first one to the side of Trictors. Here's the call of the Forge God. They're not willing. Crate Cast comes out, but the fight is on already, and Kalen will lose his life. The rest of Resolve just peace out. They're going to have to give up the Dragon. They're able to secure themselves a tower and a second charge from the Rift Herald. That is going to do some significant damage to the tower, actually.
Yeah, I've got to say, I feel like you're very much correct in this case, Jake. They, tricked. They had the setup in the river. It was Resolve that kind of yielded that side of the map. And all of the jungle camps are up on the top side. There was a wave to play with on the top side too. Soft could be in trouble. Or maybe they're going for Chimera. Not enough speed on them, though. And yeah, I think for Resolve, that was definitely a cross-map angle. I think you could have taken 2 towers in the mid lane. You could have even finished the rotation up at the top side to net yourself 3 towers. And that's a lot of standing gold to just all of a sudden collect.
And
off the map.
I mean, if you take tier 2 mid, you just afford yourself so much space on the map for the next dragon.
Yeah.
They've now bought themselves a bit of space with the fact they were able to take that tower, because you can see that the mid lane tower had already fallen on the side of Resolve already. Tricked had already taken a mid tower, and that was kind of what gave them a bit of wiggle room to finish up and kind of get the priority in the river.
Yeah.
But tier 2 just means you can really catch the waves incredibly high.
My God. I mean, the tier 2 is actually on like 1 auto attack.
It is literally a stiff breeze from falling over.
Stiff breeze. One of the players might sneeze next to it and might fall over. But yeah. Certainly, I mean, it's just the pressure of knowing that Soul is there for the taking. And I mean, if you get the flip and you take the flip and you win, then all of a sudden you've got Soul. But at the end of the day, if they committed any harder for it, which we've seen less disciplined teams do things like that, they could have just lost the Dragon and the Baron because the Baron was up. Fortunately for them, they didn't, though. As okay.
Look, they are on the hunt indeed. As Lucky might be on the receiving end of the love, as they are going to throw everything at him. Gale Force forward, he just flashes the wall. They have a Cloud Drake, so they have 10% off their ultis, I guess, or 10 ability haste. It's not percent anymore.
Yeah. That was always one of the stranger things, as we have a bit of a lull. Oh, no, maybe not. Cast the curse. All right, I'm just gonna let them scuffle. Yeah, one of the strange things for me about the preseason changes was always the ability.
You can talk about this in a moment.
Later.
Stuff
Yeah.
gets cast to safety, and not enough damage has been put into these members for Trick to feel comfortable to start up the Baron. Essence Reaver has now been finished on a Chew, so the mana problems that they were suffering earlier are going to slightly be alleviated. And with that second item, you see how quickly waves now finally melt to the Sivir.
Yeah. But on the opposite side, then, Voxnay's finished up a Frozen Heart. As Madley could be out of position.
Well, they throw the Call of the Forge God. They're going to look for the knockup. The Shockwave will land, and Madley has to flash away. Soft is low HP. Heals up for the Gale Force. Knockup and Tether is landing, and they're trying to get the damage onto Chimera, but Chimera able to kite away as he secures the kill onto Lucky. It's a kill for kill so far. Then Voxney's going to get chunked a little bit, and Taxa and Paulson are keeping the zoning going down. The teleport's coming in, and Resolve is keeping themselves bundled up. They could be in for a whole lot of hurt here. Madley steps forward. They get the knockup. They're going to chase in. That's a Chew flashing away to safety. Madley going to get chased onto here. Chimera is low HP, and they are just mopping up people left, right, and center. Everybody in Resolve will fall. It's an ace for Tricked.
Yeah, it's just Tricked just absolutely run over Resolve in that mid lane fight. It goes all the way to the bottom lane. A clean ace by the end of it. And I mean, they should be able to do the Baron if they want to. The death timers are certainly long enough for the rest of Resolve. Soft is going to be here, but he's got no flash, no way to get inside the pit. Especially if there is a blast cone there, Madley will just blow it up, but there isn't. So it's going to be a Baron going into Trick's pocket. Resolve, they were kind of the ones that felt like they were going to catch out Madley, but at the end of the day, he survives the initial engage. And even teleports to the bottom side after a reset and makes the fight work for them. And it's going to be Baron now eclipsing this next Dragon Spawn. So Resolve likely to give this one up, albeit they know if they get this soul, there's going to be a huge benefit and a huge pressure on Tricked to be able to even try and take some of these fights as time goes on. We've got the replay here, and I mean, Lucky just survives for so long. Soft gets blown up despite the Sterax shielding, his Gore Drinker, all of the other utility aspects of this composition, and then just out of vision, Madly comes in, body slams onto Archu, the flash over the wall from Taxa, and even though Archu and co flash away from this initial engage, they just don't have the health bars anymore to deal with it. Then Voxnay showed up with all of the damage. Paulson is finding executions on some of the members. There's just not really anything Resolve could do by the time they'd retreated so far away from their initial engage.
Well, for now, the Baron on the side of Trip, they are looking just to shove into these waves in Resolve. Unfortunately, not really going to be able to do too much about this. They're just going to have to try and clear the waves as efficiently as possible. But Achi still sitting on 2 items to the 3.5 that Demboxy has. And that is actually disgusting how much damage he just did there.
Yeah. Ezreal is not okay with the design with these divine Thunder buffs. That's my take. I know.
I mean, Chimera's half health off 2 Qs, and that was through shielding as well.
Yep.
It is crazy. And I mean, keep in mind as well, he's got a frozen heart.
Yeah.
It's not like this is free damage item Ezreal.
No.
This is 2 damage item Ezreal and a component damage item.
Yeah, this is, hey, mana gives me more AD, so I'm going to build a frozen heart. And it's not even like it gives a little amount of AD either. It's something kind of silly, like 20 or 25 AD.
Oh my.
Ooh.
Yeah,
damage graph, please. Oh, look.
Okay.
They know,
when
they
a shockwave does that little damage, but an Ezreal ult does that much damage, you know something's wrong.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, base is open, Tricked. Been running away with it for a little while now. And got their first inhibitor. Looks like they're going to try and eye up the second one in the mid lane too. They've got a wave on the way. And I mean, Resolve, they just have to kind of point and shoot and pray. I don't know at this point if you can even really hold on any longer. Oppressor is starting to just kind of be overbearing, but they do have a Sivir. The 400 CS dream is certainly there and alive, but I just don't know with the amount of pressure that Tricked are putting down if they can even hold out.
True Shot Barrage only going to hit onto Kaelin for the moment, as there's the Solar Flare, able to charge away to safety with that Searing Charge, and I think Resolve are just going to have to be content catching waves now.
Yeah.
And like you said, 400 CS, maybe we can see what Achu can do, but at the moment, then Voxney is just 2 Q half healthing the carries, and that is such a problem for Resolve.
Yeah. Quite frankly, this is a supers are spawning in 2 lanes. We don't have to fight for another 2 minutes maybe for the Baron. Archu, go and catch those waves. Get to your 3rd item. And I mean, what kind of sucks about this scenario is because, you know, there is a relatively high amount of AD coming out from this comp. I mean, it's actually pretty 50-50. I'll take that back. But it's the item builds that come out from a lot of the Trick members here. They've all got armor. Archu feels pressure to have to go into Lord Doms. So he's not even going to be able to have an Infinity Edge here at that 3rd item. So he will spike. Yes, he'll finally start to deal damage to the people that he's auto-attacking because of the armor pen. But it's going to be so long until he comes online just because of the itemization coming out from Tricked.
You see the individual gold as well. There's a 3,000 gold lead between Achu and Dem Voxney. A 2-level lead as well. So he's got that final point put into the True Shot Barrage. And it's a waiting game for Resolve, but Tricked, you know, they're not letting their foot off the gas. They're not letting them wait this one out. Finally, the Gale Force has been upgraded. And I can't remember the Typhoon, isn't it?
There you go.
Typhoon.
I'll always try. As let's see how much damage this one does. Ooh, 500 on the tank. I like that. Albeit, I suppose Soft doesn't really have resistances to deal with a True Shot Barrage, so it's a little more acceptable.
Yeah.
He is kind of just walking HP.
Walking HP.
I mean, there's the meme. I mean, he's, Olaf eventually just kind of turns into a walking meat sack. Someone that kind of just slows people down.
Well, I think we're looking at what probably might be the final fight here. Achu's finished up his third item, and Kalem's going to miss the Call of the Forge God. The Solar Flare and the Cask is going to catch, and Polston's looking for Achu. Achu's trying to turn it around with the help of Soft, and Polston's going to go low, but he has a GA, so there's not really any ability to do anything about this. The front line is dead, and Resolve have no engage left. It's going to have to be a miracle shockwave coming in from Chimera. Stenvoxy does shift forward, was momentarily slowed, but Chimera not in position to deal with him. And Achu's just trying his best. The speed ups coming in from Fast Leg as the True Shot Barrage is eaten by the Spell Shield as Polston just teleports back in, comes in and gets the kick off. Chimera's caught. They're looking to try and CC lock the carries for the moment. Chimera's able to survive, but that is Achu. He is gone in a sneeze. A double kill picked up for Denvoxny. And the towers will crumble. The Nexus will fall. Tricked will take this game.
Yeah, and I think Tricked nearly from start to finish. I think for the last 15, 20-ish minutes almost, it was just building and mounting pressure. And unfortunately for Resolve, even though they got those first 3 early dragons, they weren't able to turn it into a soul. They couldn't convert in the mid game. And it's kind of a similar-ish story. I think this time around, Tricked, in comparison to the 2 previous Resolve games, Tricked were definitely throwing punches back in the early game. But yeah, I think Tricked just came out. They played a much better game. And again, then Voxnay, the man, regardless of what team he's on, regardless of the setup, he just seems to be the star carry here, and he just came out huge on the Ezreal, pretty much unchallenged.
Yeah. Honestly, a really, really stellar game coming from Denvoxny. His damage was disgusting. He outputted so much there for the side of Tricked, and that is going to be Resolve, unfortunately, going 0-3. So not being the strongest start to them at their debut here at the NLC. But for now, guys, it's time for us to throw to a quick break. Back in a moment, and when we're back, we'll have Foxy and the gang to break it down.